So how was your day?
So far, so good. It's been great. I just had a sorry, I'm just adjusting my
Uh-huh.
thing. I just had a an article come out on CNBC, so I was kind of trying to get that straightened away and
Wow.
spread. So that's yeah, it's been a good day so far.
What
So this is
article?
it's about Valentine's Day. It's about how guys think that spending money is what is the most important thing, and I was talking about how spending time, is more important than spending money. So it's a cool article. I
Yeah.
posted on my page.
Oh my gosh,
So
love it. Oh, I'm excited. It's a perfect timing because we are having an interview right before the Valentine's Day.
yeah, it
I
is
need to
perfect.
make sure it comes out tomorrow morning on social
That's
media at least.
everybody will be looking for Valentine's Day stuff, so that's great.
Awesome. I completely forgot about Valentine's Day because I'm single right now. So
You can,
let's
it's,
talk about Valentine's Day and especially for people that are single. So what do we do instead of focusing on being lonely and single and think, oh my gosh, nobody loves me? What should we do?
well, you can't think of it that way. It's about self-love anyway. So,
Yes.
it's always about self-love first. So I think I used to call it when I was single, I would call it Singles Awareness Day.
Yeah.
It's all about
Beautiful.
we're here too, the single people. So it's not all bad.
Yeah. Well, actually, I agree. I'm going to party tonight and tomorrow night. I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
So, James, how long have you been doing your chivalry movement, and why did you decide to start the movement?
well, good question. It's actually pretty new. I started the website about a year and a half ago. So it's
Hmm.
still in the, kind of the beginning stages. I mean, I started it mostly because I always grew up around kind of more of an old fashioned family. My dad is very romantic and chivalrous with my mom
Uh-huh.
after 35 years together. Um, so that's always how I grew up. And as I got older, I realized how rare it was and
Yeah.
how a lot of people maybe don't appreciate it or they don't understand it or they don't even know that type of dating exists. I really just started the blog to get my ideas out into the world. I
Hmm.
didn't plan on being some sort of big undertaking, but it kind of after 3 or 4 months of being live, it sort of exploded and went viral, and
Yeah.
now I'm at 30 million readers in a year and a half. So it's crazy
Wow.
how it
Congratulations. It's amazing.
it's been quite an experience, but so far so good.
Absolutely. So, what are your suggestions for guys to be more romantic for Valentine's Day to show their appreciation and love to their girlfriends?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, I think it has a lot to do with each individual scenario. I think a lot of guys think that, they can go out and buy something that they saw in a commercial or the typical like roses and chocolates and all that stuff, and that's all well and good, but it's not specific to their girlfriend or their wife's interests.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that has really any deep meaning. So I think that the biggest thing really is to pay attention. I mean, guys should be paying attention all year long anyway. So, but and they should be showing the woman in their life they care all the time anyway.
Yeah.
But this is, an opportunity for them to kind of show they've been paying attention. I think, an experience is great. I'm going to the White Mountains in New Hampshire with my girlfriend this weekend. So, I think more than a gift that you can just go to the store and pick
Yeah.
up, an experience you can share that has something to do with her interests
Mm-hmm.
is a to show that romantic side of you.
Beautiful. So many guys think that being nice and romantic means being weak, and they think they are so masculine, so they need to be more rough and tough. So how do you balance that? And actually, not balance, but how a guy can be extremely masculine and attractive, feminine woman, and still be romantic?
That's a really good question, and that's one of the biggest, disagreements that I face is that guys say that if they do all these things that they won't be taken seriously.
Hmm.
I really just think the guys take it a little too far. Like they take this whole nice guy scenario and they just lay down like a doormat and they do whatever the woman wants and they lose their own identity. You can be kind and respectful and romantic and still have your own identity. I think that's the big problem.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's just a matter of not being like you obviously would not want a guy, well, maybe you would, I don't know, but those women, you don't want a guy who you can pull around on a leash like a puppy dog, right?
No.
Teammate and a partner in crime and somebody that you're taking on the world with.
Hmm.
These guys, they have a hard time balancing holding their own identity in place and also making her happy. You
Yeah,
know, they don't, and I think that's a kind of a self-worth issue for the guy
absolutely. Yeah.
because it's like they think they have to just cater to all of her needs in order to keep her attention.
Hmm.
When in reality it's him being himself and chasing after his own goals and dreams that's gonna keep her with him. So guys, they're just too nice. And I know this is a long answer. You can edit it. Sorry.
No, it's great.
I think the flip side of the coin is that they've just been nice to the wrong women. They haven't found a woman who appreciates them yet, so they think it's a
Yeah.
negative thing. So the two big things are don't be too nice, like don't be a complete doormat, and just stay true to who you are and to yourself until you do find the woman that appreciates it. Because when you do, it'll be worth it.
Yeah. And as you said, it's maybe even they're not that nice, it's just low self-worth. So they're trying to do whatever it takes to feel valued and loved, but they're stepping over their identity. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, because they're chasing that approval
Yeah.
from, and when you do that, you're not staying true to yourself. You're just being who you think they want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even know who you are. They don't know who they're dating. They don't know who this guy is because he's basically just doing everything she wants, and that's not good either.
Absolutely. And what advice would you give to women that are like myself, entrepreneurs, and have to make all these decisions every time? But we want to feel feminine when we are in a relationship. So, how do we balance being masculine at work and feminine in a relationship?
Okay, this is a tough question. I don't want to offend anybody, or it's hard to, it's more difficult for me to talk about what women should do because I don't want somebody
Okay.
to like. I'll still answer it anyway. I think that a lot of women have a hard time letting go of that in charge mentality. And they're like, this is it. They kind of get caught up in it, and they're like, this is how I want to be all the time, or how I have to be all the time. And I think that it's also easy to get jaded and to feel a little discouraged. So your guard is up pretty often. But I think that the big thing is really to understand that you can give up control in some of these scenarios and let a man be a man and have you be a woman in that case. And it doesn't take away at all from your independence. It doesn't take away from your strength. It doesn't take away from who you are from 9 to 5 or whatever your hours are. Or as an entrepreneur, it's 24/7 anyway. But it's a different part of life. It doesn't have to. It doesn't mean that you're sacrificing any sort of power or control
Yeah.
to be in a relationship. And I think that that's a big roadblock for a lot of strong women because they feel like they have to be the strong one constantly. When in
Hmm.
reality, the guy is going to want to take over sometimes, especially in a relationship, and be a man. And that doesn't mean that you're giving up any control.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. I had another question. I don't know if you follow Dr. Pat Allen. She's a relationship expert, an older lady, and I love her. I go to her events like once a week here in California, and her philosophy is you can't have two equal partners in relationship because equality breeds boredom. So she says somebody has to be a driver and somebody has to be a passenger, and you have to choose between driver and passenger. And of course, men should be drivers and women more feminine passengers. So what do you think about that? Can there be a balance, or it's more feminine and masculine?
I think these are really good questions, by the way. Um, I think that I agree with the driver and the passenger scenario, but I think that who is going to take each role, it depends on what area of life you're
Yeah,
talking about. I
yeah,
don't think somebody can be a driver in every single situation all the time
yeah,
because you're going to have naturally different talents and naturally different skills that sometimes you're better off letting the other person drive.
yeah.
I think that that is the same thing that we've talked about the past couple of questions, and that it doesn't eliminate your self-worth at all. It doesn't take away your power at all. If somebody is better at planning things out, have them plan things out. If somebody's better at taking care of the kids, have them take care of, like, there's got to be a balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you can say that because I'm the man, I'm going to be the driver all the time in every scenario. Because there are going to be there are going to be things that the woman is better at. And if
Mm-hmm.
you try to stick to those roles all the time, it's going to create tension. It's going to take away the efficiency of the relationship. And I think ultimately it wouldn't be a good thing. I think there has to be flexibility
Mm-hmm.
and, change. So, yeah.
Beautiful. So, James, tell us a few secrets and tips. What guys like the most in their girlfriends, or what you guys like the most, so we can do for you to make you feel desired and loved and cared for.
What the things that you just mentioned there at the end are a lot of the big things that I think that guys are typically the ones who are chasing after the women. We're the ones who are pursuing. We're the ones who are, planning the dates and paying for the dates and putting in effort and everything. And I personally do it because I enjoy it. I would never complain about doing that. I think that it's, I guess I could say the man's role or whatever you want to say. I always enjoy that. But there has to be appreciation. I think some, reciprocation from a woman too. And like you said, making a guy feel desired is sometimes, I think, something that goes overlooked. And we feel like we're giving, 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 giving. And then you turn around and go, wait a minute, like, am I just, barking up the wrong tree here? Because sometimes women don't want to show that interest back to guys, I think. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that just small things, little compliments or just a thank you or just being appreciated goes a long way for a guy. I think
Yeah.
that's really all that most guys want, is just to be appreciated for their efforts. And that could be anything from if he took out the trash or if he took you away for the weekend, from big things to small things. Just the appreciation, and maybe like treating him sometimes or giving your debit card to the waiter when he's not looking or something, taking care of dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it lets him know that you're willing to give back to
Yeah.
his efforts too.
But
And that's
also, you have mentioned that guys should take care of Bill, or at least on the first date, right? So I don't want
yeah.
girls to get confused.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I should specify. I think
Yeah.
that, a little further down the road, like
Yeah.
when you're really comfortable with somebody, after a bunch of dates or whatever, then, there are definitely things that can go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I know that, I mean, my girlfriend now, a few dates, I don't remember how many dates it was in, maybe 4 or 5, that she ended up, that's exactly what she did. I went to pay the bill and she said, it's already taken care of. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Uh, it was nice because it was the way for her to show me that she wanted to contribute also.
Yes.
Uh, but, at that point, we were already a few dates in, and she wasn't fighting me on the first date to split the bill.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that yeah, in the beginning, the very beginning, the courtship process is mostly the guy. But, hey, I mean, if you go out for drinks after dinner and she wants to pay, if she wants
Mm-hmm.
to pay for parking or something, even if it's on the first date, it's a nice way for her to show that she's willing to be part of this also.
Yeah. I have actually heard two completely different opinions about paying on the first date, so I'm very confused. Some people say it's nice to at least offer, and if guy accepts, he accepts to split the bill. If he doesn't, great. And then, as Dr. Pat Allen would say, never ever even take out your credit card, because that way you become masculine. You're showing a man that you're equal, that you emasculate them by offering, by taking away their ability to provide at least dinner. So when I go on my first date, I don't know what to do.
Well, and I'm going to have, I guess, a different opinion than
Uh-huh.
Dr. Allen, because I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's nice to at least offer.
Okay.
I, I mean, now we're talking about the first date, right?
Yes.
So the first date, I think it's nice to offer, because if you're just going to sit there and, just sit there and kind of look down when the bill comes and expect him to pay for it, I think that sends him a message that you're sort of expecting to be wined and dined and taken care of and everything. Now,
Uh-huh.
even if that's what he wants, even if that's what he's trying to do, it's always nice to be appreciated and to show a
Yeah.
little bit of effort, you know? So now he should never, especially on the first date, he should not accept your offer
Okay.
to split. But I do think it's nice to at least, you know, pretend to reach for your purse and say, you know, do you want me to help you out or something? Uh, so I mean, that's my, I see where she's coming from,
Uh-huh.
but I think it's important not to come across as
Yeah.
too entitled or expecting. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's she's from a different generation, so things changed.
Yes, definitely. And I appreciate some of the, you know, the old fashioned values. I talk
Mm-hmm.
about a lot too. But I do think, you know, guys, I mean, as women are hesitant in a lot of ways, guys are also hesitant in being taken advantage of and, you know, spending all this money and all this time on a woman who's not really going to appreciate it, and who will maybe take them for granted. So I think that, you know, at least offering or, like I said, you know, doing something else in return is a good way to show him that you're not going to just, you know,
Yeah.
expect everything from him.
Love it. Let's talk about exclusivity. So I actually learned about this word maybe 3, 4 years ago because it's only this word exists only in the US. Back in Europe and back in my country, we don't have exclusivity. So if you're dating someone, it's obvious that you are dating only one person. If you're like dating two or three, you're a cheater, you're a slut. It's terrible. So we don't practice that.
Yeah.
And in the US, I guess when people date, they date multiple people to see who is more, who they like more, or who is the better fit. So for how long do you date other people, and when do you guys decide that you want to be exclusive with one person?
But that's another good question. And now for me, I mean, I sort of went through that phase like in my early 20s and I was a little bit younger. So for me now, you know, as soon as I was on a first or second date with somebody, I know if I want to be exclusive with them.
Yeah,
So I don't personally really want to date around at this stage in my life because, you know, if I want to find somebody I'm serious about,
yeah,
you know, and I did, but I think that I don't think that's the way it normally is. I think it has to be a conversation that's had. I think that
yeah,
probably, I mean, I would say, you know, even a month, if you've seen somebody a few times, if you talk frequently, I think that you have to make sure that you're on the same page about
yeah,
this. And unfortunately, it, you know, it's not true unless it's spoken about. I think you have to
yeah.
have the exclusivity conversation these days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I think especially for a guy, if he doesn't know for sure after a month that he just wants to be with you, then he doesn't. I don't think he really wants to be with you. I think a guy will know for sure,
Yeah.
pretty probably even before a month.
Mm-hmm.
But if as a woman, if you're unsure of how he feels, you know, I don't think more than a month should go by before you kind of have a conversation, or
Mm-hmm.
even just let him know, like, listen, I'm not seeing anybody else. You know, I don't know where you stand, but you know, and then he'll tell you
Yeah.
how he feels.
So it's
If he,
okay for a girl to start a conversation.
I think if he hasn't brought it up,
Yeah,
then I mean, eventually you have to know if you're wasting your time or not, right?
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
At least to know, at least to make sure you want the same things.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think if like if a month or so has gone by, things are going great, you're not seeing anybody else. I think it's worth it to say, hey, listen, you know, just so you know, I'm taking this seriously. I'm not seeing anyone else, and see what he says.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
I think a guy will know pretty quickly after, you know, I mean, a week or two, he'll know if he wants to be with you or not. So it's a good conversation to have.
Wow. So how do you guys know what kind of traits are they looking for in a woman to make that decision in their heads?
I think, well, if we're talking about like a long term
Yeah.
type of person, I mean, I mean, I can really only speak for myself because
Yeah.
every guy wants something different, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it has a lot to do with family. I mean, I'm personally very close with my family, so I have to be able to picture somebody, you know, around for the holidays. You know, is she going to be good? Like, is she going to get along with my parents? Can I bring her around my friends? You know, is this somebody that I can take seriously? Not somebody that still goes out 3 or 4 times a week partying.
Yeah.
Um, I did that. It was fun at the time, but I'm over it. And I need somebody else who is also over it. So I think that that's a big thing for guys. I mean, like you can talk about the old like boring things you say, just like smart and funny and all that you'll hear in like any romantic movie. But it's true. I think guys need somebody that they can be challenged by on an intellectual level. Somebody that's not just going to sit there and smile and nod and everything. That might be nice for a while, but eventually it's going to get boring.
Hmm.
You need somebody who's going to be able to keep up with him.
Yeah.
And I think ambition is great. I think especially for a guy who's striving for success. Like at least a woman who has her own things going on in her own busy life and everything that he can see as a teammate. And those things are all really important. And if you're going to have kids in the future, if you want kids, I mean, you have to be able to look at a woman and say, "Can I picture this woman raising my children? Can we do this together?"
Yeah.
And it's a big picture, and there's a lot of answers to that question. But I just think it comes down to like kindness and being genuine. Like can you see yourself in a rocking chair with this person in 50 years?
Hmm.
And it's a big statement, but I do think a guy can tell pretty early on if that's what he's feeling.
Absolutely. So I'm sure that many girls that are watching right now, they are thinking, where can we find somebody like James? Where do we go meet guys like you, like yourself, that are masculine but yet romantic and kind and loving?
Well, I'm certainly not perfect. Let's try to put that. I
Yeah,
have
there
a,
are no perfect people, but
yeah, no, I have a lot of work to do also on myself. Definitely not clubs. And I hate to say it because I spent a lot of time in clubs, so there are some good people around. But generally speaking, not typically guys, who are looking to settle down. I think charity events are great because they're normally a little bit more mature, a little bit more formal, and people are there who want to help others and make a difference. So I think fundraisers, charity events are great ideas of things to go to. I mean, it's just people are everywhere. I mean, I think that the hard part is like women want to go out and, of course, most women are going to be approached by the guy. That's just how it works, But sometimes you have to do the looking too. And if it's, even saying hi to somebody in line at Starbucks or smiling at some guy at the bookstore, a lot of guys, that's enough of a trigger to say, hey, maybe I should go talk to her. So, guys are everywhere. It's just, I don't know that there's one good answer for where, we are.
yeah,
I think that sometimes, though, you have to be a little bit assertive and not just leave it up to a guy.
yeah,
And give him a smile or say hello or something, no matter where you are. And
great.
you might be surprised.
Well, I would like to elaborate on that because, uh, as you say, guys should approach girls, and a lot of the times, guys are somewhat intimidated by good-looking, powerful woman, and if she does too much, like if she does too much chasing, then she becomes masculine. So, how do you find a balance and let a guy know that I'm interested, but I'm not gonna chase you, you chase me?
Yeah, I really do honestly think it's some can be something as simple as a smile. Because
Hmm.
that's enough to just completely break down that wall of intimidation
Yeah.
and have him smile back or have him say hello. I think that's especially with all these videos that come out online now of the guys catcalling women and thinking about being approached all the time. It's like guys feel like they can't do anything or say anything
Yeah.
without being like you know just destroyed by somebody.
Yeah.
So that kind of just a friendly expression or a smile or whatever is enough to give him the idea that, hey, I'm open to having a conversation with you. And then it's up to him to take that and walk through the open door.
Hmm.
So I'm certainly not saying that a woman like walk up to some guy in the street and ask him on a date or something like that. If you want to remain on the receiving end and on the
Yes.
feminine side, you put it, give him the opportunity to actually come up with you. Let him know that it's welcome.
Hmm.
That's a lot. I think a lot of guys, if they're smart, will take that hint.
Beautiful. And sometimes guys would approach, have a conversation, but they're still scared of rejection to ask for a phone number. So, is it okay for a woman to say, "Hey, let's exchange numbers," or give him his card?
I
What?
I think I think it is. I think it's okay for her to offer that up
Yeah.
if he doesn't ask.
Uh-huh.
Um, I do, of course, think he should ask, and even, even if he says, "What's the best way to continue this conversation?" or "What's the best way for me to get a hold of you?"
Mm-hmm.
She wants to give him like an email or Facebook or something, and not her phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that leaves it open to her to do what she's comfortable with. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman, offering her phone number. I would think it was amazing. I mean, see, these things never happen to guys. That's the thing.
Uh-huh.
It's like for that to happen to a guy, it's going to make his day. So, I don't think it's anything to be too
Uh-huh.
hesitant about. Yeah.
Wonderful. Is there any secret, or maybe there are many secrets to make a guy want to commit?
Whew.
Tell us your secrets.
Great. That's a dangerous question. That's a very dangerous question. Um, oh man. I think that um, a guy it's sort of the similar things that I was saying before of being valued and feeling appreciated. I think that that's a big, big piece of the puzzle in finding a woman that you want to commit to. Somebody that, because most guys, in my experience anyway, and there's probably going to be women listening to this who say no, that's not how most guys are. But I think that in their nature, most guys want to give and they want to make somebody happy and they want to, be that provider in a relationship. So finding a woman that he knows is going to appreciate that
Yeah.
is a big first step to wanting to stay with her.
Mm-hmm.
Because he feels that love back from her and that warmth back from her and that welcoming nature of hers that is going to keep him close to her. If they enjoy their time together, why wouldn't he want to commit?
Yeah.
It's going to be different for everybody. And like I said, I really do think when you're with somebody and the conversation flows and you're just comfortable, you kind of know that this is the person that you want to at least give it a shot with.
Mm-hmm.
That's more emotional than it is logical.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think that feeling of appreciation and warmth and kindness
Mm-hmm.
is a big, big part of it. But
How
I don't know.
early? Yeah. How early in the relationship guys know she's the one?
Well, I can tell you, I mean, I know in the first maybe, 3 dates, 2 or 3 dates.
Wow.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily saying the one, but I'm saying that this is somebody you want to pursue.
Yeah.
This is somebody that you want to take seriously and actually continue this with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, anything can happen. I mean, on date 4 or date 5, everything might just go south.
Yeah.
But I think it happens really quickly for guys, especially guys who have experienced some negative relationships. And when they do have this positive experience, they go, "Wow, this is what I've been looking for this whole time," and they hold on to it. And I think that happens really quickly.
Wonderful. And when do you guys feel that they fell in love? Usually girls fall in love much faster. They're more emotional and guys try to hide their feelings. So how do they know, or what makes them realize, oh my gosh, I think I'm in love with her?
Well, I think you know, in terms of the time frame. I mean, I don't know how long it would take for. I think it could be as quick as a couple of months. I think maybe 2 or 3, maybe
When you said as quick as a couple of, I thought you would say a couple of days, because a couple of months for a woman, it's too long. In a couple of months, she wants to be engaged. So
well, well, then I guess we're on slightly different time frames with
yes.
that one. Well, maybe a couple of months is when he'll be comfortable saying it to her. Maybe he'll
Okay.
know before, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a guy. But now hearing that, will probably be comforting to a lot of guys because they, like you said, they do hide their feelings, but
Yeah.
they still feel these things.
Okay.
So, they may feel it, but not want to say it because it'll scare you away.
Yeah.
But if you're already feeling it too, then he'll feel more comfortable to say it. But, I don't know if there's like a how do you know answer.
Mm-hmm.
I you
You just
when
know.
I think yeah, and I hate to say that because it sounds so cliche, but I
Yeah.
think when it comes to falling in love, I mean, I think it's something that just happens when you're together, and the rest of the world disappears, and you don't even think about anybody else. You don't. I think all these things in your past kind of go away,
Yeah.
and you realize all of the things that have been missing up until now. And I think it's this like click in your mind that's like this is everything that I've always been looking for or waiting for or wanted, but I didn't know if it really existed.
Yeah.
And I think when you have that feeling and when you really that like resonates with you, I think that's at least the first step to knowing that you're in love.
Love it. Well, I wish we could speak, James, much longer, but
I'm sorry my answers, but
no. I love it. It's just if we speak much longer, I don't think people will be listening to us for so long. So, what would be your last words of wisdom for guys and girls, maybe especially before Valentine's Day? Anything you would like to add?
so good question. I'll wrap it up by saying for guys, they're the and I've said this before and I'll say it again, is that being kind and being, I won't say nice because we talked about the whole nice guy thing
Yeah.
earlier, but being kind and being romantic and being genuine is not going to get you all of the girls. You're not going to be able to go out to the club and get, a million girls falling all over you because of it. But if you stay true to it and you stay who you are and you are genuine about your actions, it will eventually get you the right woman who feels the same way about you and will make you happy. So kindness and being genuine and good-hearted in the long run always wins. And I will say that to the guys who are feeling discouraged and think this is all nonsense or whatever. That's what gets you the fulfillment and the happiness in the end. And for women, I think that they need to be open to a guy actually being genuine and being kind, because most women think it's just an act and the guy's just trying to get you in bed and then he's going to take off or whatever. And sometimes, that might be true. Fortunately, I mean, dating is a lot like playing the lottery in that you have to lose a lot of times before you win, but if you never play, you'll definitely never win. So it's a risk for all of us. So I think that women have to be willing to accept that there are good guys out there and to, give somebody a chance and to know that we all get hurt along the way. It's part of the game, but you'll never find if you don't put yourself out there. And only accept that kindness. Women have to raise their standards too and just basically say that, if this isn't the way that I'm going to be treated, then sorry, but, I'll look for somebody else.
Yeah, and I love one of your articles where you say that women should stop accepting those kind of treatments. And if we raise our own standards, guys would have to step up. Otherwise, we let them take no action and get whatever they want. So
exactly.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. And that's why guys say to me, why should I bother putting in the extra effort?
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely goes both ways in that scenario.
Definitely. Well, James, thank you so much. Happy
Yes,
Valentine's.
Yes, you too. And I'm sure you'll have fun at your parties and
yes.
It'll be fun.
I'm through.